Have you ever read something or come across a quote and you think, if I can really believe that and take that in at a deeper level, everything changes. I go to a whole new level. I become a better me. I become more spiritually alive. Well, with that in mind, I want to share five inspirational quotes that have affected me in a deep level that I believe have the possibility to free spiritual potential. And really, what a quote is just a short little piece of wisdom and understanding that someone has gathered that has the ability to breathe life into us. And a great one can really change us, make us more effective, make us be free to be who we really are meant to be. And some of those I feel like were almost downloaded by God to that person. So the five I want to share are all about how you change your mind. Because when you change your mind, things change. And the first one actually comes right from the book of Proverbs, which is a lot of little smart quotes. And this is in Proverbs 23:7, which says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." In other words, when somebody thinks something down deep and it's in their heart, their subconscious even, that becomes their reality. A lot of books and a lot of ideas in self-help and growth have come from that one concept that when you change your mind and what you're really thinking about, that's going to affect everything. There's some statistics, and these are kind of crazy. One says that only 5% of the things that we think about are actually conscious. In other words, 95% of the things that you're thinking about, you're not even recognizing that you're thinking, and yet your brain is allowing those things to happen, and they are affecting you. According to the studies, I don't know how they got this, but 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day a human has on average. Of those, get this, 80% are negative. In other words, a lot of the thoughts that you're having each day are actually toxic to your ability to do the things you most want to do. And again, super crazy, 95% of the thoughts that you had today are the same thoughts you had yesterday. I don't know, go figure. But as someone thinks in their heart, that's going to affect them. So the good news is from the New Testament in Romans 12, verse 2, which says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. In other words, you can change as your mind changes. And so the hope is that your brain actually thinks its way to being different. And science in the last 25 or 30 years says the same thing. The whole idea of neuroplasticity says that as you think thoughts, your brain actually changes. And in that scripture, the word that's used for be transformed is the same word that it talks about when Jesus was in the Bible transformed and transfigured before his disciples, and they saw him from a heavenly perspective. So the idea is that your brain can go from being kind of in the mud and in the dirt and earthly to actually seeing from a spiritual perspective as your mind is transformed. And so one of the most hopeful things I feel like is in the work that I do is somebody can change. I can change. If a guy like me who came from depression and anxiety and anger could become where I am now, and I'm certainly not perfect, but I'm definitely different because of this concept. So be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Quote number 3 is from Dr. Wayne Dyer. So more recent. If you change how you see things, the things that you see change. If you change how you see things, the things that you see change. Again, a lot of hope in that is that as you change your thinking, you begin to see the world in a new light. I heard someone talk about, when people are able to see things in good light, they just become good people. They're transformed as they're seeing more and more opportunity. They see others as lovable and good people instead of, the guy who beeps the horn at you, as a terrible person. Go, oh, he's just having a bad day. And so as you change the way you see things, you begin to see options, opportunities way forward. And then that relates. Dr. John F. Kennedy, who was the president, asked Werner von Braun, who was an engineer, what it would take to carry a person to the moon. And von Braun said, the will to do it. So he was able to see something different and accomplish something incredible. Quote number 4, success or failure in any undertaking is caused more by mental attitude than even by mental capacities. That was Dr. Walter Dill Scott, who was a psychologist at Northwestern. Success or failure in any undertaking is caused more by mental attitude than even by mental capacities. So a lot of times people will think, well, I'm not smart enough to build a business. I'm not smart enough to start a nonprofit or to coach or to counsel or to do whatever else you're dreaming. And what Dr. Scott is saying is that your mental attitude and your willingness to go to work on how you think is going to affect you, maybe even more than getting a master's or a PhD. And how you think can really bring incredible success. And that leads to the final one by Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich. And he said, whatever a man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. Whatever a man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. And that's the spiritual part of us as human beings, that we get to be able to use our imagination to imagine what life could look like if we go in this direction. We can imagine the kind of relationships we want. We can imagine where we live and how we can affect the good of other people. And I know people, disagree with some of the things he has, but I think there's really something super powerful in getting clear on the dream that God's put inside of you, and then doing the work to allow yourself to see it, believe it, and turn it into reality. And that's one of the incredible things about coaching, and why I encourage people to get a coach and be a coach, is because you get to be involved in the birth and the coming into being of dreams and of potential. So that's what I have for you today. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Share it with someone else who might need to be inspired and breathe life into today. And I really appreciate your friendship. God bless.